Welcome back to Visual Trigger.
So, back for part 3 of Frank motherfucking Jackson.
Everybody in life, from time to time, you always find out you need a hand.
Yep.
It's always good to have a hand
Why do you have a white hand?
because they were out of black ones. They actually usually have black ones, and the black ones sold out,
Wow.
which actually makes me feel good,
That's true.
because I'll go back again if they open up again and see if I can get. They make a right and left, so I want to get a set of 2 blacks and 2 whites. So I was, I do a lot of tooling around YouTube, and right now the flavor of the day apparently is all the new film camera geeks.
Yeah.
They are discovering the M6 is the Leica to buy, and a lot of them have basically never, it's wonderful and sad to watch someone who is trying to critique something and they don't know what they're doing.
Oh, dude, that's YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. I call it the skateboarder way, where you fake the ride, you keep riding until you stop breaking your neck.
But that's true with like snowboarding, biking. It's true with anything that is like a physical thing when photography is a cerebral thing. And you can get better though doing it over and over.
Yes, you can, but because I had my own skateboarder way because I'm self-taught.
Right. I didn't go to school. I assisted for 5 years. So
I didn't even get to do that. So, and in a weird sort of way, I am quick to tell if any of the young guys ask me what I should tell them to do. My path to them is, look, find a working photographer that is paying his rent. He's getting real jobs. I said, take your heart, shove it in your back pocket, work with this guy, and hopefully he'll teach you the business of keeping your rent paid.
Right. And also don't show his clients your fucking portfolio.
Yeah, and well, yeah. So and you'll be smart enough to keep your best stuff to you. Because yeah. So with that, watch a kid talk about M6s, and film and their take on lenses and all this other stuff. And I think it's wonderful in a weird sort of way. But once again, if you are, it's the same as a guy that puts a helmet on. No, he's trying to prove something. And what he's doing is he's running into a wall with his head. And then he gets the bright idea, I'm going to put a helmet on, and runs to the wall. So all that does is you just can run on the wall a few more times before you really mess yourself up.
Yeah, but the first time I crashed on a mountain bike was when I put a helmet on.
All right. Well, we knew we were supposed to wear helmets. I
rode in the back of fucking pickup trucks too.
Oh man, we all did that. We couldn't wait.
Oh, dude, now? No. The helicopter parents of 20, this
tops everything. Our church on Saturday night, when we were in we lived in Oakland, and they'd rent a truck, hayride, right?
Yep.
They'd throw hay in it, stake bed truck. You could put 40 people in the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
They paid a fee. They would ride across the Bay Bridge to San Francisco in the stake bed truck. But it's not, because nobody thought about that. Fortunately, we never had an accident.
Yeah. Well, it was your church. You were on a mission from God.
Well, hey, and then there was a guy in our circle of friends had a pickup truck, and the most fun in the world is riding in the back of that pickup truck on the freeway.
I've done it too. I did it.
All did it, and now I think about, you get in your parents' car, and you sat in that station wagon in the back seat that faced the rear window,
Oh,
and
dude.
they faced at the car behind you. never once thinking, we get rear-ended.
Um,
This is going to be it. you know?
you're sitting over the goddamn uh, fuel tank.
Oh yeah. Well, it'll be quick if nothing else.
Well, you hope.
That. Let me tell you something. If the trauma from the hit doesn't kill you, that'll take care of everything. That'll pretty much do it. Especially the fact that all the cars back then weighed 8 million pounds
Oh yeah,
and were all steel.
all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
They weren't meant to take a punch. They were meant to stay rigid when you get hit. It just so.
Yeah, yeah. Now they crumple, and but they have since like I don't know, 80s maybe. I don't know. When did they start paying attention to that shit?
Oh, after somebody got sued.
Well, no, they build the lawsuits into the production cost of the car. They know that a certain amount of people are gonna fucking die. It's the same with everything. But we live on a hurtling ball of mud through space, and we want safety. Fuck that. There's no such thing. We live in an inherently unsafe place.
And the problem with a lot of people is they worry so much about trying to be safe that they end up putting themselves in more danger.
Always, and they give up their liberty.
Like so, the day, what was it, when my illness got really bad, and I start realizing I didn't have the strength to be. I had fear of it, but I stopped being scared. I didn't have the strength.
Right.
So I realized to this day, when I buy a plane ticket and go to a foreign country, people go, well, what if you need to go to the hospital? I said, well, I'll just go to the hospital. And over there, wherever I am. And I said, I'm either going to live or I'm going to be afraid to live.
Absolutely.
So, I was like, when the corona thing popped up, I had a plane ticket in my possession to leave. And when they said people with pre-existing conditions and your immune system suppressed like mine is, you cannot be anywhere around this stuff. And I was like, we had dinner, and they were asking. And I said, I don't think I'm going.
Yep.
I pulled the plug on it, but I don't regret it.
No, please, you're gonna after all this bullshit wears off and we get herd immunity or some immune thing, it's all gonna be good.
Yeah.
It just sucks now. I think that at least 30% of the people who call themselves photographers now will probably find another way to make a living. I guarantee. I think restaurants, I think businesses, 20, 30, maybe even 40% are gone. Just because a certain number of people of society just really, really, really want to be as safe as they can. And I don't see it.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. I went out yesterday. I went to a park, and I sent a postcard out, and what I noticed was it was close to normal rush hour, and I saw an amazing amount of cars, more than like when I went to the park a week ago. There was hardly any traffic. Now, more people are out. Weren't that many people. There were very few people in the park.
People are fucking tired of this shit.
Oh, of course they are.
It was a really beautiful introduction to what socialism's like.
Right. Well, anyway, let me read this.
What is it?
This is something I wrote on fear. I wrote this in 1999, and it's called fear. We spend most of our lives trying to be something else, somebody else. Then, in a clear moment, some clarity, you find yourself. Somebody you must learn to love even when it seems no one else does. In a small way, everything is a collection of gestures toward reality. Is there a real world? Fear and reality equal reality and fear. To believe the truth is to understand true fear, because to believe the truth is to admit we can no longer be strangers to reality. And that's the most frightening thing in the world. What are you afraid of? Who you are, who you want to be, who you will never be, who you have become. Love and money don't make the world go round, fear does. Faith is common sense management of fear. Who do you love? What do you love? Do you love you?
Well, you should.
Well, nobody loves you like yourself.
We'd have a lot less problems if that were the case.
Yeah, you know, that and the prostitution was legal.
Well, I mean, it depends on where you're at. I mean, Berlin, it's legal.
Yeah, I little bit of writing, and I keep it, you know, that's a long one. Most of the time my stuff's short.
It is. It's like almost haiku.
Well, and that's what, you know, it's just like, it shouldn't be, if you got something to say, just as, you know, when a piece of art is right, it speaks to you in your own language. And no one, it stops you. It's like when you see the person that you might end up spending the rest of your life with, the first time you see them, it stops you inside of that moment. And when it's real good, you both see it at the same damn time. I've been lucky enough to have had that.
That's good.
I mean, you got it with Jamie, you know.
Totally.
And it's like, you go, Brett has it with Danielle. He's like, he knew the next time he saw her, she was it. And they're still together. Hey, my stepmother coined it the best. At my father's funeral, she goes, she was in the kitchen, you know, they buried him. She goes, you know, it might not have been roses every day, but it was some kind of flowers. And I said, you know, good relationship better be some kind of flowers. Doesn't mean it's the best, but it's never bad.
Right. It's either flowers or baby goats.
Yeah, and hey, and that's, you know, it's let me see, I got one more here you might like. Yeah. This is A to B. A, number 2, B. Want to be happy. To be or not to be. B is an alphabet, second in a set of 26. B is always behind A, which gives B a complex. B complex is a vitamin. So what? Well, just be. Even if you have no place to be, then be gone.
Damn. A deep motherfucker is what you are.
Well, as Richard Pryor said, the water's cold too. Yeah. So you like Amsterdam when you went to Amsterdam?
I've been there a lot of times. I like it there.
This was, I was going to Amsterdam a lot, and I sat down one day and I wrote this. I was at Dutch Flowers, one of the coolest coffee places, because it wasn't about, it was about the chill. And I mean the correct chill. They stayed open almost 24 hours. You had good coffee, snacks, you know, your choice of whatever weed you wanted. Let me turn this down. All right. I was sitting there one day, and it was a summer, man. And I was watching people kick a soccer ball, and they would stop long enough for scooters to get out of the way and bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
This is called Amsterdam. At a certain moment in an afternoon, thoughts of letting go, getting there, and being fade away with the light. Boats float while bicycles glide by in every direction. And speed, dodging scooters, people, and cars. Some remember why they left, others wonder if they'll ever go back. Conversations sound to a motion of coffee cups through clouds of hand-rolled smokes. Everyone here has no place to be, nothing to do, and everywhere to do it, while not bothering to go there. You know. So enough of that deep crap. Um.
I think we left off talking about street photography actually,
Oh yeah.
because I edited. I have both of them edited, so it takes a while. The whole thing. It's a pain in the ass.
Plus, besides that, you know, what we're dealing with here, because when you're dealing with one of us, it's a combination. It's my 40 plus 50 years of almost doing this kind of doing all kinds of different kind of photography, and you're also in the game also. So it's a lot of years. Seb is racking up time, but he's
35-ish, 34.
do you know what Seb has going for him? He's an old soul. He's an old soul.
Oh, absolutely.
He never was a kid with this. I mean, the first time he showed me his work, I was like, well, I knew immediately why you were around him or he was around you, and I am honored to have him as a friend also.
Absolutely, great dude.
I'm telling you, I stepped off a train and when he came back to Vienna, he left his fiance. He came back, and I was in Vienna, and he didn't know it, and I didn't know it, and I stepped off the S-Bahn train and bumped into his ass.
What the fuck?
Bumped into him. It was like, Seb, Frank, what you doing, man? I said, hey. He said, I got to go someplace. So we hooked up the next day. We went to this boutique hotel and had a drink and, just kind of tossed things up. And then he came back out here. But yeah, it's,
that's a city of 7 million?
Vienna is one of the capitals of street photography. It really is. And you back me up on this. It's like you pick up the crappiest camera, a phone, you step out the front door, you will find something to shoot. You just go boom. It's just boom, boom, boom. And the light is amazing. If it's raining, it's amazing. If it's snowing, it's amazing. You can choose to ride trams all day. I did that. I decided I wasn't going to do anything but get on a tram and ride trams all day. Bought a week pass. It was cheap. And the sun was coming out and the light was blasting through. It's a small, big city. It stretches out. It's got is the Danube? The Danube? I think the Danube goes through it. Yeah. And last time I was there, it was the International Street Photography exhibit.
Oh, really?
And oh my God! So I met this. There's a guy, Jonas. What's Jonas? I think it was his last name.
Oh, it's 2 million people. Sorry, but that's still a pretty good size.
Yeah, but they're all in. So it's like
Right.
So Jonas, he followed me on Instagram. And he goes, "Man, I always wanted to meet you." And so he's an American. He was in education. He's working on his master's, and he says, "I want to teach." And so we hooked up, and we went and had something to eat, and then we walked around. We went to the International Press Photographers exhibit. Was at Westlight. Oh my God, what an exhibit that was!
Really?
And, oh man, let me explain something to you. The prints were beautiful prints in color and in black and white, and it's right next to the right next to the Leica thing.
Yeah.
But the show was amazing. Beautiful work, beautiful prints. I went there and saw the August Sander the year before. That was also a good exhibit. I mean, you can't have a bad time there. And then he goes, "Look, let's meet at the Hundertwasser. He's a famous artist. You ever heard of him? Hundertwasser? Okay, basically, he's a Viennese, I think, of Turkish descent, and he's kind of like the Gaudi.
Mm-hmm.
He's huge. One of their power plants, he designed one of their power plants. It looks like something Gaudi would have done.
Then I know who that is.
Yeah, 100 water, but 100 Wasser. So he had a studio that's now a gallery. So they had the International Street Photography exhibit there.
Oh, wow.
And and Robert Frank's original print that he printed for the Americans cover was on the wall on display.
Wow.
And I photographed it because you could take pictures in there.
Oh, wow.
And the pictures, a lot of the pictures were, I mean, as everything of the street photography, everything's doesn't blow me away. But anybody that asks me to critique street photography, I go, there are no bad pictures. There are pictures you remember and pictures you don't. And I said, you work very hard to learn how to take pictures that other people remember. And the first thing out of their minds is, this is amazing. And the second thing is, who did this? And they never care what you used.
No.
They don't care.
People always ask.
Yeah. They don't. Nobody ever asks me. People don't ask me what I shoot with. They don't. I have a problem telling them. But I will say this to the young guys. I'm like, look, if you want to make street photography your thing, and you choose a rangefinder to do it, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to learn how to. You're going to have to learn how to hunt like a World War II fighter pilot. They don't shoot where the planes are. They shoot where they're going to be.
Yeah.
Because you got to get that other guy to fly into your bullets.
Well, just like a duck. You got to get the duck to fly into your bullets.
Yeah. So,
well, your pellets, sorry.
Yeah. And,
same thing.
I'm like, a lot of guys they'll do the wide angle on a Leica and they stop down. Hey, whatever works. I'm not a stop down kind of guy. I was always I like fast glass. I like to shoot it wide open because I like my stuff isolated as a rule.
Well, like you said, there's no wrong way. Is someone going to remember it?
Whatever. Yeah. And I said, people that sit there and try to pick apart other people's work, if you don't like what they're doing, it's not bad.
Yeah, if you don't like what they're doing, just don't look at it and shut your fucking mouth. Like,
I love these guys that go, let's go talk about photographers. No, let's go take some pictures. And then if we're having a coffee, let's just show each other what we're doing. Let's talk about those. Instead of just talking about photography in general. I was part of a photo group, and the core group of guys in the beginning, we were really cool. We were self-starters. We would go out and shoot. This is with film. We'd show up with proof sheets. Hey, I'm doing this. Oh, cool, man. Then they start letting in new people, the new breed.
Uh-huh.
The wannabe, the retired executive that now sees himself as a photographer, and they've been going to too many classes and workshops to where they'll look at your proof sheet and you'll see them doing this, cropping. They'd go up and he'd go, yeah, I would have shot this like that. I said, you wouldn't have shot that at all. Because you don't know what was behind me. You don't know what I was thinking. I said, as a rule, I shoot full frame. I very rarely crop any of my stuff. I like that you get the whole frame going. And I said, I come from the film world where you didn't just put a negative in an enlarger and that's your print. You had to work the print. You have to work the print. I mean, perfect negatives are generally, they are, as we say, people in the darkroom understand, a 10-second f8 proof at 2.5. That's a proof. You get a good proof. And then from there, you raise or lower your contrast, depending on what you do. And another thing about the film thing is the guys that are trying to buy every other kind of film, they'll go out and buy 10 different rolls of film and go out, and it's hideously expensive now. They are the big joke to me is they're charging $10, $15 for a roll of film and making you pay for the privilege of having this cool film that they say is cool.
Well, I mean, Tri-X is still like $7.59 or something.
No. I'm not talking about Tri-X. I'm talking about these companies now. There's.
Oh, dude, you're right. Yes.
Japan Camera Hunter. He's a cool dude. He goes and finds old.
I know who he is.
He now has his name on a black and white film.
Oh, I know.
Because his followers will buy that film. Basically, that film might be the same stuff. It could be a foam pan, a stock. It could be anything, you know. And you've seen the color film that have bubbles on them and scratches already,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm going, it,
Horrified. If you showed that to a client, what would they have said?
pre-scratch. I was like, I only did one time. I cross-processed one thing.
Yeah, me too, and it looked like shit.
You know what I said? I said, why do I want these pictures to look like somebody's died and nobody embalmed them? I was like, first off, you took your C41 film, you took 4 rolls C41, and you shot the same subject that day, but you went back to the lab, split 2 days. You
Yeah.
would get different. It was not consistent.
Right.
You could not reproduce. So if you got the color you like, street photography, yeah. The funny thing about we just called it photography because, when you first got your camera, you walked out the front door and you tried to find places people were doing stuff, whether it be the park. So here's the funny thing about street photography. Most people think that street photography means you're in the city, in downtown. Dude, if you're in Africa and you live in a hut and you have a camera,
Well, okay. So the real name, the one that the dealers call it, is social documentary realism. And social documentary realism can be done downtown, a little town, a little village in Africa. It can be done anywhere. I mean, like Duano, Bresson, Booba, they didn't call themselves street photographers. They called themselves photographers because that's what they did.
yeah.
So
Bresson was chasing light, and Duano was chasing moments.
I think that they both chased moments.
They both chased moments, but Bresson was chasing that. But here's the funny thing: I don't know. I know that Bresson did not process his own film.
He never printed.
Yeah, I met his printer.
I did too.
Yeah, old dude, older. My buddy Chris in Paris knew him, and I went to the foundation for that. They did a recreation of the show that this New York gallerist had with him and Walker, and he got them all together in a show in New York City. And had all the letters. It was a really cool show, and I was there in 2009 in the summer to the HCB Foundation in Paris, and that was pretty cool to be able to see that.
I'll bet.
There is a photo gallery in Montpellier, and if you ever go to Montpellier, you need to go. It's state sponsored. They always have amazing exhibits. Every time I've been there, they did one where what's that guy's name? The Spanish. You just mentioned his name. Bresson. No, not Bresson. The guy that went around Paris in Montmartre.
Oh, Atche?
No, not Atche. Atche was.
He was a landscape, urban
Atche was
landscape.
doing architectural stuff. No, this is. He shot in the bars and the clubs.
Oh,
Yeah, you just mentioned his name.
Duano?
No, not Duano. It was.
Booba?
No.
I didn't mention his name then. But I know who you're talking about. What the fuck?
So, he made a trip. He made a trip to New York in the 1950s and hung out. He came to California. He hung out with Weston. He hung out with Ansel, and they did an exhibition of that. And I was there for that. And I went to that show, and I got one of the programs. And he shot. He had a twin lens roll. He was shooting color film, and there were pictures in New York. And he shot his way across the country. And when I was there last in 2018, they did the American Civil Rights. I Am a Man, a fantastic exhibition. I mean, they had, they threw down for that one. And they always do, and they're free. They're always free. So you just go, you walk in, I do like that town.
Which
Montpellier.
town?
Montpellier. It's real. It's apparently before Paris, it was the capital of France. It's about Montpellier is 20. Montpellier is like LA to Santa Monica.
Oh,
Palavas is the Santa Monica of southeastern France. So you get down to Palavas. If you go to the west, you go towards Spain.
so they're communists too?
No, Palavas? No.
No, Santa Monica is the People's Republic.
Oh, okay. You just-
I also call it Skid Monica.
hey, they're enjoying the fruits of their labor with all the guys on the street now. And then you can go east and head on into Nîmes and what's that other city? The city that Bresson honed his skill, Marseille. Yeah, that's where they told me the light is. They say that's where the light is in Marseille. They say that's some of the best light in France.
Huh.
Everybody says that. And I'm gonna go next time I go to Montpellier and I'm there longer than a week. I'm gonna go to the Louvre. Actually, has they open up other galleries, and they have one that's amazing. It has this. It's a concrete wonder. And my buddy who does architectural stuff, he goes, "You need to go for the day." And I said, "I'll do that next time I come when the weather's good. I'll take the train out and we'll go see it for the day." My chief cities to hang is my first choice is now is Berlin because they're just so chill. Things are cheap there.
They don't like being photographed, though.
They have they have a lot of laws to protect people from. You better be. We warn you young photographers that want to go and shove a camera in someone's face in Germany.
Right.
You get prosecuted for that. So you better learn how to learn your craft, which means you better not get caught.
Well, I mean, if you're putting a camera like right in someone's face, it's hard not to get caught because you're clearly taking a picture. I don't know. Those have never been my favorite photographs. I know that's like that was in vogue a little while ago.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I think it's an intrusion. First off,
I think it's inserting your own personality into it, and they derive style out of that, and that's what they want to do. Fine, cool.
well, I don't. I'm not going to fault somebody for being a photographer that shoots on the street. I'm not going to fault a guy that wants to take my picture.
No, I'm on the street. You can shoot me, but don't get in my fucking face.
Yeah, but because I'm also, we call it an urbanist, and it's like you don't let people get close to you because you don't know what they're doing.
I don't either.
Someone comes up on the side of me and he's coming like this, he's going to get hit.
And depending on where you are in the country, being hit is one of the least of your worries.
Yeah, something's going to happen to you because it's like, hey, I don't know who you are, man. I'm like, I'm not violent, and but I have never jumped in someone's face with a camera like, hey, boom.
I did it once to someone who was representing a certain religion, and it's a religion that we have, that guy. Remember that guy from Denmark? That religion.
He's on the tube now doing his thing. It's
that's great.
God, you know what? Let him do his act. That's neither here nor there.
He needs to put fucking subtitles because the mealy mouth motherfucker, I can't even understand what he fucking says. And it's like maybe, but the thing is, maybe instead of buying another Noctiluxe, why don't you get your teeth fucking straightened? I don't know. I know that's a very American thing to say, but
The reason
whatever.
we're doing this is to be that beacon of light that says you can either come toward it or you can steer around it, but at least your ship won't crash because if there's light, there's land. Now you have a choice. You can either choose to go with it or not. Case in point is there's no wrong, but there are people that consistently produce amazing works of art, and they keep it real enough to not be so full of themselves that it doesn't get in the way. You know. You talk about street photography, social documentary. The other thing is, at the end of the day, all the equipment. The camera stores and camera companies have lost their. It was easier for them to sell cameras before. It was easier for them to sell cameras. Now they're trying to convince you that if you didn't like the pictures out of this version of what you bought last year, this new one is going to do it. You know what? If I can pick up my Hasselblad that I have had around for a long time, and I can slap a roll of film in it, and I can go out and snap a couple of shots, process it, and still produce top quality stuff, because they haven't improved. They're not going to improve that.
No.
They're not going to improve that. So I'm not knocking it. It's just one of those things. And
well, every single camera manufacturer jumped on the bandwagon. I mean, you know what? That's not true. Canon did not. Canon didn't say, "Oh, this is a street photography camera." Neither did Nikon. Oh, wait, actually, neither did Sony. So I would say it was pretty much Fujifilm who really went after a lot of street photographers, and Leica always has. That's been because if I had one camera for the rest, if they said you could only have one camera the rest of your life, it would be my Leica 35 Summilux, and I call it a day.
It'd be my M6 and my 50, and I'd be done.
Yeah,
because I can always find a way to process film.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could, yeah, but what I'm saying is, yeah, I've made a ton of street photographs with a Fuji, but it's not my first choice. And I mean, I know there's a lot of dudes making amazing shit with digital, a lot.
Yeah.
But that's just not my choice.
Yeah, I like full frame cameras. I mean, the first digital I had was a 4/3.
Well, what's full frame mean?
I like the same aspect ratio as of a piece of negative. Because it does make a difference between.
But what if you were shooting Super 35 in a film in a cine camera? Then it's a different aspect ratio, and that would be considered.
That's something else. But I'm talking about just from a straight. I'm talking if I was analog, because when I shoot my digital stuff, I try to get that as analog as possible. I try. My stuff comes out. A lot of people are saying, "Well, what are you using?" They think it's film. I'm like, it's not film.
Well, because everything you do is black and white.
I shoot color too.
Really, 1%.
Well, you haven't seen the. So you see this. The color to me, I have an iceberg of color. You see one up here. You got to go on the surface. I've actually started scanning a lot of my color stuff. Color, black and white taught me how to shoot color. Because back in the day, if you got hired to do work for companies like Xerox would have me shoot ads for them, and architects would have me shoot 4x5 of the houses, that shit better be correct. So I own color temp meters, all the filters, and I knew how to shoot the E6 films, and I knew how to have them pulled or pushed.
Yeah, of course. Snip test, baby.
That's right. Perfection. We're talking.
But if I never have to shoot chrome again, I don't fucking care.
I talk my guy, the guy I'm mentoring. I said, look, he says I'm gonna shoot some Kodachrome. I said, there's no place processing those anymore. Nobody's processing Kodachrome. I said it was a 14 14 chemical nasty process that you had to have a federal license to do. And I said, Kodachrome is black and white film. They add the colors in the processing. And I said, that's why, but Kodachrome is permanent. The colors don't shift like any other color film, but it also had this weird cast. So when I was traveling with E6 films, I usually travel with 400 rolls of E6 color slide film. That's what I was shooting. But I also backed that up with 100 rolls of Kodachrome because the temperature didn't affect it.
Yeah.
And if I couldn't get to a lab to get it processed, I could bring it back to the country and they would run it and the company would still have pictures. But now a roll of that stuff is just, you put that on your bookshelf. They used to make large format Kodachrome, and Avedon shot Marilyn Monroe with some in 8x10. They're gorgeous, scary gorgeous, beautiful stuff. Yeah, man, I tell all the young guys, look, don't shoot slide film if you want to shoot color. Pick Portra, pick one of the Fujis, pick Portra. I said, shoot your color neg. I said, shooting slide film, what are you going to do? Get excited looking at a positive that if you don't have a good scanner, getting a print out of that is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, but I mean, now scanning, we can do it with DSLRs on a light table, which is fucking fantastic.
I'm also getting just outrageous scans out of this Nikon because mine is AT8 calibrated, IT8 target calibrated. So when I put a transparency in there, it's like boom, done. But my go-to is going to be put it on the light stand, whack, done.
Yeah, I've been shooting a lot of 5207, which is 250D motion picture stock, and fucking beautiful, man.
It's C41, right?
Yeah. Well, you got to take the rem jet off, and it's like it's an alkaline wash that you do before, gets all that off because it's like carbon. Because I mean, if it's going through a fucking film gate at 24 frames a second,
it's getting hot.
Yeah, lots of things are happening. Static buildup, everything. So, I mean, do I wish it didn't have it on there? Yes. However, I've used the stuff, Cine still film, and it leaves these weird halations and these rings around lights, and people are like, "Oh, I like it." And I'm like, "That's not what it looked like, though."
It's not. That's not what it's supposed to be.
And I knew those guys gave me a whole bunch of film. And they're like, "Well, why don't you use it like?" And I'm all, if I give this to a client, they're gonna say, "Why does it look so funny?" It's the same thing with any of those alternative processes. If you're a fine artist, fucking A, do it. But if you're shooting for somebody else, I don't want halos around fucking lights.
See, that's what happened before I got rid of that Summilux, the 1.4. Oh, no, I was talking about the Summilux, the 35-1.4. So my buddy Brett, he had a business thing in Paris, and he was going to workshops during the day, but at night we would go shoot. And we went to Saint-Germain to his fabulous meal, and we sat outside, and I shot some stuff. And then, that's where I quickly learned that I didn't like the older Summiluxes. I mean, they have a look. If I'm going to have a Summilux, I want the spherical. I want sharp. I want sharp, and I don't want halos.
Right.
That lens does that circle halo thing when you shoot it wide open, if it's foggy.
Yeah, but I have a new one. So I don't have the FLE. I actually was the beta tester on the FLE, but I have the Asphere.
Yeah, that one doesn't do that. Yeah,
it's fucking beautiful.
That was pristine. Yeah.
Which restaurant you go to on the 6th?
Dude, you know what? I took a picture of it. You'll know it. It's fabulous food, man. So what was funny was there were these two classic old school Parisian guys. One wore a bow tie. You could tell this guy was aristocrat Parisian, and they had dinner and then they sat outside and had a conversation. I took pictures of them smoking a cigar and talking. So I got like some great shots of them doing that. That was before I had a digital camera. So when I traveled, it was.
You went with Brett back then?
I knew, bro. This was back in 2000 and this was 2009. I knew Brett. I met Brett in 2008.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you said you only had a film camera with you.
Well,
Did
back
you-
then that's all I had. I didn't have digital. I didn't have any digital.
In 2009, you didn't?
No, I didn't have a digital camera until I had
What?
the first one I owned was the Panasonic 4/3 GF1. And that was in 2008, 2009.
Okay.
And really liked that and the lens. So because I was still tight with Justin, and he said, that 20 millimeter 1.7, we designed that for Panasonic. And I said, okay, so that's why I like this lens so much. That lens was pretty damn nice. It was basically because 20 millimeter on a 4/3 is 40 millimeter.
Right.
So it was basically a very close to a spherical 35-1.4.
Huh.
It was just nice.
Okay.
And he said Panasonic didn't put Leica's name on it, so they didn't have to charge a lot. They didn't have to charge a premium for it. So that was my walk-around lens for a long time. And to this day, I still use some of those pictures. The pictures are a pretty nice combination.
I didn't realize you didn't have a digital camera until then.
I didn't have any money. I had my Hasselblad, I had my X-Band, I had 4x5, I had the Leica, and when you guys did the workshop, I had my M6.
You did. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a digital camera. Yeah, and I didn't get, I call a real digital camera until I got the D800, Nikon D800.
Right.
And that was the first full frame. And because I'm, my heart is Nikon for SLR stuff. I didn't think I would ever like a mirrorless camera. And when Sony came out with the A7, and I got to play with it, I was like really blown away with it. And every time they've come out with one, they have done some great improvements. What I don't like about them is their menu is horrible. Their menu is absolutely just a cluster.
Why would they keep?
They have never, if they were smart, what they would do is they would come up with a system to where you could hook the camera up to your computer, and then you could dial in what you want.
Oh, that's smart.
And if they're, basically, you should be able to do that with a reader. The barcode. I want this, boom. But I have it set up now to where it's easy for me to get to stuff. So I treat that camera like a film camera. A couple of my lenses have f-stop. They basically are whoever Sony's got making their lenses, and I have my own suspicions is that one of the companies that are making their lenses might be Sigma. I don't know, but this is Sigma's. This is quite wonderful. This is a 45-2.8 art lens from Sigma, and it's got.
Oh wow!
This thing is pretty damn nice.
Have you broken one yet?
What?
Have you broken a Sigma lens? I mean, I don't know what their service is like.
No. Their stuff is really made well.
Yeah, give it to me and see what happens.
Well, that's you. That's the one I owned for the Nikon was their 50-1.4, their spherical 1.4. That lens held its own against the $5,000 Zeiss, and plus it autofocus. I tell people all the time, I was like, look,
right?
I'm not going to pay $5,000 for a lens that doesn't autofocus. I said, it makes no sense to me.
Unless it's a Leica, like if it's for your rangefinder, different ball game.
Yeah, of course, that's fine. But if you could give me a big DSLR,
yeah,
and you can make it, you do the slick, quiet autofocusing, and I can manually focus it too. I'm not buying a lens that doesn't,
I know. I agree with you.
Cracked up laughing. These guys are paying $5,000. I had a guy that paid me for private lessons, and he showed up with the D800 with the, what do they call that 50 millimeter 1.4?
Oh, The what the fuck is that name? The Zeiss one.
Yeah, and he shows up with that, and I had my Sigma, my 51 Sigma, and so he goes, oh, I have the Zeiss, and I said, yeah, you told me he owned two Noctis for his M. He's one in one house and one in another, and he owned two of everything, and so he goes, I like this lens, but I don't like having the autofocus, and I said, here, I handed him my Nikon, shoot this, and he says, oh my God, I love this. I said, and we put the pictures on the computer, and I showed him how the detail and the bokeh and all other madness. He said he bought one, and he stopped using the Zeiss.
I hate the word bokeh.
I know it's.
There's a better word in German. Unscharfen Bereich.
I can't even pronounce that. So,
I've said it a lot because Sev told me.
It sounds like an order to kill somebody.
All German does.
It does. It does sound like, yeah.
Well, I also say it with a certain accent, like Unscharfen Bereich.
You're like, no, nine.
But I don't think that people are going to stop saying bokeh.
Oh, they can't help it,
Dude, it doesn't even mean, like, if you ask a Japanese guy he thinks that's a stupid thing to call it.
Well,
I've talked to several Japanese. They're like, that's the dumbest thing you could have ever called that. The German word means the unsharp out of focus area. That's what it means.
So this is what's funny about most lenses. The other thing that I need to point out is a lens will come out and you'll get a guy that is a physicist who will sit there and pull out the lens, the MTF charts and chromatic abrasion and all this other stuff. And then they'll talk about, when they talk about the autofocus areas, that if it's too circular or if they're cat eye shaped or if they're this or they're that. You know what? I realized a long time ago I was spoiled because I was used to seeing things shot with Hasselblad Zeiss.
Right.
And what Zeiss did, because the first Leica lenses were done with Zeiss.
They were.
The lens that was on the first Leica camera, the fast lens, was a Sonar 51.5.
Yep.
And people don't know that. And then, they went off and started making their own. What I like about Zeiss glass, and it's consistent from Hasselblad to a lot of lenses they make now, they have it's sharp, but it's humanistic sharp.
Uh-huh.
And the contrast is correct. It's not too snappy. And that is what Zeiss does is they make sure that the baffling in the lens, they do the best baffling in their lenses, and they did that with Hasselblad. So I got used to seeing like that. And I noticed the differences between the Nikon and the Hasselblad. Nikon color was warmer than Zeiss, more of a golden, that was fine. The Leica was snappier. It was snappier and choppier, and it just is. But what I really like about a lens is how it writes on film or the sensor, and that is a characteristic. And a lot of times, I want a lens that at a certain f-stop, I know it's going to be sharp. I don't want it to float on me. I just want it to be sharp. And I like a lens that's got some character to it. So all these guys going around going, well, this MTF'd out at this and that, and blah, blah. I'm like, look, you know what? At the end of the day, if someone likes your work, they're not going to look at you and go, well, what's your histogram or your MTF chart say?
Those dudes shoot fucking flowers, bro.
And they're not good at it.
They're probably not.
Not good at it. I know some people that shoot flowers. There's a friend of mine, he said, my wife was following you on Instagram, and I said, what's her thing? He said 1111, and he said, because he's a kids, he has a bus company that moves kids around, but he also is a basketball coach for kids,
Huh.
and dude's amazing. Because basketball is a lot of this. Because you can have all the talent in the world, but you better be able to apply fundamentals, or you're not going to win.
Yeah, I never played basketball.
He
I played tennis and golf.
So talking about basketball. I'm self-taught at basketball. So what happened was I didn't grow up playing. I played a little bit in high school. I wrestled in high school. That's how I got my letter. But I came to LA and I started playing ball because this place has got more gyms and more ex-high school and college and pro guys just in the gym playing. So I got schooled. They used to call it, we're going to come in here and run a clinic. That means they got their machine working so well, you got a clinic run on you. You got to run out the gym. And these guys would be high as a kite. They would be talking to you. I'm going baseline, glass, which means a bank shot, 4 dribbles. And he'd do it. I'm going to take you and your buddy, I'm going to dunk on you. And they'd do it. And I started playing in semi-pro leagues and things like that. And what I quickly learned was, no matter how talented you are, if you have good fundamentals, you can hang with the super talented dudes because they don't rely on fundamentals. But a guy that relies on fundamentals and some street moves, his name is Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. And they did a lot of work in the background. They worked. Basically, it's a lesson for street photographers. You call yourself street photographers, you want to go out and learn the craft of photography, you got to go out. You got to go out, you got to work. You got to go out, you got to hang, you got to sit, you got to shoot. And it's not the amount of pictures you take, it's the pictures you take. You shouldn't come back with 8 million pictures because you got to go through them. But it's work. It's work. It's work. And I don't care how many workshops you're going to, the guy in the front, you're looking at his work.
Yeah, you're also paying to hang out with someone a lot. And that's the same thing as fucking prostitution. It's like the girlfriend experience of photography.
What you hope that the guy that's running the workshop is straight up with you enough to look at you and go, look, I don't want to see you in any more of my classes after this. You paid me for this one.
Yeah, dude, they'll never say that because half of the people who do that now, that's how they, like the dude from Denmark, he doesn't make any money shooting for clients. He makes money from rich dumbasses, mostly in Asia, who don't know any better, and they think it's part of like a rite of passage that you have to take one of his things.
A lot of them think he's officially hooked up with Leica. They don't know he's not.
Oh no, they can't even stand him.
Yeah. But yeah, it's and at the end of the day, no matter how many lenses you buy, you're going to end up with 1 or 2 that you love, usually just one. Just as is true in the wet darkroom side, there's your main film, there's your paper, there's your straight chemistry you use, and that's your thing. And, very rarely do you switch, and you don't need to.
Nope.
Think of it as the pit crew for your race, and you got them trained. They do the same thing every time, and they make sure that you're in and out of that pit. They don't make mistakes, and they keep you going.
Right. But I mean, for the most part, that we're the minority because most people are chasing gear all the time. And they think, can dynamic range make you a better photographer? Well, what it can do for me is...
What it means most of the time.
I'm sorry?
A lot of guys don't even know what that means.
Well, of course not. But if I can get more out of the entire thing so I can render something for my client, yeah, that makes a difference. But I'm not chasing the latest gear. There is no reason to chase the latest gear.
So let's say this is dynamic range, right?
Yeah.
In between here, it always stays the same. And then what they do is they say, we made a camera, now it's like this. Yeah, but this is all you can see with the eye, you know? And
I think it's highlight recovery. For me, that's
absolutely. That's why I always try to get the highest resolution sensor I can that's realistic, that works.
all the Sonys do.
Oh, absolutely. They work better than a lot of other people's. The thing that I really like about it is that I don't get blown highlights. I don't have to do as much. I mean, you ask me, you ask Seb, ask you, they'll go, well, do you rely on the camera when you're looking at a real conscious situation? I said, not all the time. I said, you're going to see me shoot what the camera says, and I'm going to flip that dial on my compensation and underexpose it by 1 stop, 2 stops. So when I make the picture, you're looking at something that looks like a film shot, because film does not blow highlights.
Right. It doesn't. But there's an actual chemical reaction happening once that emulsion sees light, though. A sensor is completely different. It's not even, it's just different.
Yeah, the digital cameras don't like bright lights. They like shadows.
And they don't like red either.
No, they don't like, but they love shadows. And that's why, I don't care about shadows on a digital camera, because it's always going to have it. I'm so tired of seeing someone post a picture of a sunset and the sun is this white blob. And I'm going, it's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be able to see the sun in your sunset.
Oh yeah, no, I still use graduated I still use graduated NDs when I'm doing shots for clients of their vineyards, because your camera can recover enough, and especially if you're shooting, say, like phase 1, or I don't shoot any 36 by 24. In fact, I don't even shoot APS-C for clients for stills. I shoot medium format digital, and I can pull back a lot, but I don't need it to work that hard. So I put a graduated ND on, and it.
I kept some of my 4x5 ND stuff. I kept some of that stuff. I'm glad I didn't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to use it again. I have a 4x4 inch ND, and I have a 4x5 graduated, a couple of those. And I used to own a Pelican case with $2,000 worth of Sinar Bron filters, 4x4.
Yeah.
100 meter 4x4, and a color tip meter. I don't miss the color tip meter. Don't need it.
And people that say you do, it's like, yeah, no, you don't. If you really want to do that, just take a white piece of paper and do a custom.
Put an X-ray color check in the first 2 corners of your frame.
And I do. And people, they're like, what do you use that for? And I'm like, well, if you really have to ask.
In case you're the guy you give these to, because you don't know what you're going to do with them, needs to know what the colors are. He now knows he can get there.
That's the thing.
When I did, I was doing high-end art copying for AAA. All those Westways covers.
Yeah.
I've been in the lab. I've been in there air conditioned. They're amazing. A lot of those are big illustrations that they commission, and they are amazing. So I got to shoot a lot of that stuff. And the guy retired that would hire me. He would call me up, and I'd go down there, and I'd bring the Sony, and I would do it in a single shot, and I would do it in parts, so they could build it up.
Was that on Wilshire, that location?
Oh, the original AAA building on Adams and Figueroa.
Oh, right.
And that's where all that stuff is. Their corporate offices are in Costa Mesa, but the original AAA, the original building, that was their headquarters, is on.
Okay.
Yeah. I made nice money with them, man. They funded a lot of art installations.
I don't doubt it. They did. AAA does a lot of stuff.
They threw down. I mean, They're the only reason that the last two things that I shot for the California Afro-American Museum was because they paid me. And they also paid for the catalogs. They spent insane amounts of money on the printing of the catalogs. They threw in, on the cover of the Black Chrome show, which was a history of black motorcycle clubs in America, I shot all the bikes and on location. And they added the cover. The printer wanted the cover to pop. So the photo on the cover, and it said black chrome. The chrome part was foiled.
Huh.
That popped the price of the printing up another
Huge.
$15,000. They didn't care. They look amazing.
Good for them.
One of the shows we did was Intersections, and back then I didn't have a digital camera, they hired 9 different photographers to go back into South Central and shoot. You picked a picture, and you went back in that spot and shot it again. Something shot in 1920 or 1940.
Oh, no
shot
shit.
it. So I used my Blad and the X-Band for my shots, and I was the only one that shot film. And I was the only one that shot at night. So one of my pictures with the Square Blad was Matt, who was he worked for AAA. He came by in the truck, picked me up when I was living in the brewery, and we rode down there, and I did my shots at night. And then then I got the back cover with an X-Band shot.
Nice.
That camera's pretty fucking amazing.
And you still have it.
Absolutely, not getting rid of that.
Well, I gotta go make her some coffee. So I guess there's gonna be a part 4.
That's good.
Yep. So I'll talk to you. Yeah, you too. I'll have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, man. I'll see you.
See you, brother.